This is the third part of the lecture series talking about caste system in India, Dr. Ambedkar, and the dominance of Brahman, Vaishya, and other upper caste. And we shall continue about the political dominance of the Brahman that Arundhati Roy and Khushwant Singh quoted. Arundhati Roy claims that this dominance of Brahman is not confined to bureaucracy, but also it is also influencing Indian politics. And then she talks about the representation that is there in Indian Parliament of the 508 Lok Sabha members, 190 were Brahmins. Of 244 in the Rajya Sabha, 89 are Brahmins. It means 3.5% of Brahmins community of India holds between 36% to 63% of all plums job. So she also analyzes this claim of Khushwant Singh, and she says that the statistics Khushwant Singh cited may be flawed, but are unlikely to be drastically flawed. So there may be errors, anomalies, but they cannot be just dismissed. She noted they are a quarter of a century old. Some new census based information would help, but it is unlikely to be forthcoming because the government is not interested in including caste in census. Because if the government wants to refute these claims or if it wants to debunk the myth surrounding the oppression of caste, so maybe it can include caste in census that could give a clearer pictures. It is a common complaint of the Dalit that they don't get justice from courts. Arundhati Roy citing a study revealed 47% of all Supreme Court Chief Justices between 1950 and 2000 were Brahmins. During the same period, 40% of the associate justices in the high courts and lower courts were also Brahmin. It is not only some surveys that make such claims, but a report by the Backward Classes Commission revealed in 2007 that 37.17% of the Indian bureaucracy was made up of Brahmins, most of them occupied the top post. The Indian media has also been dominated by upper caste Hindus. Perhaps it was this reason forcing Ambedkar to say in 1945 that the untouchable have no press. He bitterly complained, the Congress press is close to them and is determined not to give them the slightest publicity. It is asserted that in the past, the staff of the Associate Press in India, which is the main news distribution agency in India, was entirely drawn from the Madrasi Brahmins. Dalits claim indeed the whole of the press in India had been in the hands of Brahman in the past because they were Congress supporters and they didn't allow any news hostile to the Congress to get publicity. Roy quoted a 2006 survey by the CSDS on the social profile of New Delhi's media elite, and here she's talking about the domination of media and the domination of upper caste in media. She noted of the 315 key decision makers surveyed from 37 Delhi based Hindi and English publications and television channels, almost 90% of the decision makers in the English language print media and 79% in television were found to be the upper caste Hindus. Of them, 49% were Brahmins. Not one of them, not one of the 315 was a Dalit or an Adivasi. Only 4% belonged to caste designated as Shudra, and 3% were Muslims, who make up 13.4% of the population. Even Muslims do not have adequate representation here. Of the four most important English national dailies, three are owned by Vaishyas and only one by a Brahman family concern. And then she talks about the business. the media tycoon. It is claimed that the Times Group, the largest mass media company in India, whose holdings include the Times of India and 24-hour news channel Times Now, is owned by the Jain family, who are Bania. Roy revealed the Hindustan Times is owned by the Bhartiyas, who are Marwadi Baniyas. The Indian Express by Gokans, who are also Marwadi Banya. The Hindu is owned by Brahman family concern. The Denak Jigran Hindi Daily, which is the largest selling newspaper in India with a circulation of 50 million, 55 million, is owned by Gupta family Banyas from Kanpur. Denak Bhaskar, among the most influential Hindi dailies with a circulation of 17.15 million, is owned by Agarwal Banyas again. Reliance Industry Limited, owned by Mukesh Ambani, a Gujarati Bania, has controlling shares in 27 major national and regional television channel. The Z Network, one of the largest national TV news and entertainment, is owned by Subhash Chandra, also a Bania. Arundhati Roy noted that caste is also visible in South Indian media landscape. In southern India, caste manifests itself somewhat differently. For example, the Inado Group, which owns newspaper, the largest film city in the world, and a dozen TV channels, among other things, is headed by Ramoji Rao of the Kama peasant caste of Andhra Pradesh, which bucks the trend of Brahmins Banya ownership of big media. The largest democracy witnessed a number of riots and protests over the issue of reservation in universities and for jobs in state-run bodies for those who belong to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. It is believed that reservation is the only opportunity for scheduled caste that might help them break into mainstream, but unfortunately the policy does not apply to Dalits who have converted to other religions but continue to face discrimination. Even benefiting from this reservation is very difficult for the Dalits to be eligible for the reservation policy. A Dalit needs to have completed high school, but 71.3% of the scheduled caste students drop out before they matriculate, which means that even for low and government jobs, the reservation policy only applies to 1 in 4 Dalits. The minimum qualification for a white collar job is a graduate degree, and according to the 2001 census, only 2.24% of the Dalit population are graduates. So that's even in educational field they are unable to, benefit. But the detractors of the Dalit assert that the liberalization of the economy has provided ample opportunities to everyone. They assert it is because of this that Vaishyas, despite being low in social hierarchy, made it to the list of richest Indian. But Roy believes it didn't benefit the Dalits greatly, who constitute an overwhelming majority among the country's poor. In a nation of 1.2 billion, now it is more than that, more than 800 million people live on less than 20 rupees a day. Of course, it must have increased. A list of dollar billionaires published by Forbes magazine of a few years ago features 55 Indians. The novelist noted the figures naturally are based on revealed wealth. Even among these richest persons, the distribution of wealth is a steep pyramid in which the cumulative wealth of the top 10% outstrips the 45 below them. Seven out of those top 10 are Vaishyas, all of them CEOs of major corporations with businesses in interests all over the world. Of the remaining 45, 19s are Vaishyas too. The rest, for most part, are Parsis, Bohras, and Khatris, all mercantile castes, and Brahmins. There are no Dalit or Adivasis in the list. So it seems that industrialization in India didn't bring the much wanted social reforms that put an end to the social hierarchy based on caste and religion. It is also interesting to note that while the Western bourgeoisie was anti clergy and progressive, the business classes of the largest democracy are still very superstitious. From wedding dates to inauguration of new projects, they are said to be heavily dependent on the semi literate religious leaders or clergymen or pandit. The Western bourgeoisie deprived the priests of their political clout, but Indian bourgeoisie brought, people like Yogi Adityanath into power corridors of Lucknow by gifting the fanatical leader with the crown of India's most populous province. I mean, in the past, he was the chief minister. They also fund a number of religious worshipping places besides bankrolling a number of saint and mystic with a medieval mindset. Perhaps Indian bourgeoisie believes that the inhuman religious and social hierarchy was one of the factors fueling their wealth. That is why they don't want to abolish this archaic system. They are trying to create an impression that this system is also open to the Dalit, whose Chamber of Commerce is believed to be financed by the upper caste Hindu capitalists. But many among the Dalits believe that without a radical change, the emancipation of the untouchable is not possible. The solution doesn't lie in enriching a few Dalits, but breaking the shackles created in the name of religion. They also dismiss top government posts that are sometimes given to the Dalit, arguing that arguing until structural reforms are carried out, nothing will change. Many Dalits leader Many Dalit leaders believe that such a change could only be brought through a violent revolution which can end Brahmins' domination and capitalist supremacy. So I've just put forward different point of view on that, and I hope that you can give your feedback. That was the concluding chapter.